you've skipped over the most persuasive argument in this section, which is the argument from, I don't know what carbon dioxide is. No, neither do you. There's this delightful point where they're like, look, plants give us oxygen and food, and what have we ever done for them? And Fish does not go, carbon dioxide.
We burn coal and oil to help them out.
Which they love. I am the science advisor to Donald Trump until I die.
God awful movie.
Welcome back to God Awful Movies, where each week we watch another terrible movie so you don't have to. Noah's out of town. He's trying to explain logic to the state of Texas, I believe. Sure, that's going great. So I'll be hosting today. Sorry about that. And sitting somewhere near the Barksdale Heroin HQ in Baltimore, Maryland, is my good friend Andrew Torrez. Andrew, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Heath. Hey, you know what's a great movie? The Firm. The Devil's Advocate, that thing we watched part 4 of with Mr. T in it, literally anything but this.
You guys want to switch the Mr. T thing or just Mr. T? Let's just talk about Mr. T for a while.
Yeah, we could talk about Mr. T cereal. Oh, there's so
Clubber
much.
Lang was a delightful Rocky character.
Yeah.
He has a disability.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Google
sitting somewhere near a non-fictional, I'm assuming Heroin HQ in New Jersey, is my bad friend. You already heard him, Eli Bosnick. Eli, how's it going, buddy?
I'm amazing, Heath. I got to watch a capoeira instructor defend the Shroud of Turin.
Yeah, that's going to be a major theme. We'll get to it. So before we do that, tell us, Andrew, what are we going to be breaking down today?
Well, we watched Dead Man Rising. It's the story of how a Christian movie producer hopes you really, really suck at typing Dead Man Walking into your PureFlix search bar.
They sure do. It's the Transformers of Christian movies, everybody.
Yeah. That's
we
a
found
business model. And Eli, how bad was this movie?
Well, if you love Lee Strobel, but you wish you spent more time thinking about him fucking your wife, you will love this movie. It's Dead Man talking about Christian apologetics. There you go.
Yeah. It's Dead Man Walking on Water. They missed
Yeah.
They missed that. I feel like this.
Damn it.
Anyway, so you know how Waiting for Godot had too much action and too many characters? Yeah, I think someone finally fixed it. It's very exciting. This movie, correct me if I'm wrong, it's about how being on death row is emotionally taxing for an atheist. And that's why everyone needs Jesus. That's the lesson, right?
Yeah, it's a bummer unless you're going to Sky Clouds.
Yep. And God, I hate it so much. We learned this all by watching two inmates argue forever. And that's
End
it.
of sentence.
It's exhausting. God.
Yeah. And not smart guys, too. Like, you ever been stuck behind two assholes on a bus? That's this movie. Someone was stuck behind two assholes on a bus and was like, I need to capture this and send it to the world.
Yeah, a moving bus would have had a lot more scenery than this movie, though.
Yeah.
Ain't no Jews died on 9/11. Talk slower, damn it. Talk slower.
All right. So you guys got anything you'd like to nominate this one for being the best at being the worst at?
Me first.
Andrew, go.
I'd like to nominate this for the best worst response to Richard Carrier. And let me say, I've read a lot of responses to Richard Carrier.
So he was wrong, Richard Carrier? Or are we saying he was okay?
Oh, according to this movie, yeah, absolutely.
He's wrong. Also in life, he's wrong.
I was gonna say,
so,
so they got one thing. Nice. All right.
He's pretty sure if you cover one eye, you can't see Jesus anymore. It's okay.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go with best worst use of the internet.
Ooh!
Yeah, we're gonna have a guy on death row again, and he's gonna get handed a laptop, and he's gonna type in the craziest fucking stuff you can imagine in that situation. And he doesn't even know how like searching works either. It's just like, dear Google, hello, Daniel here. Daniel.
How are you?
Amos is my name. I'm going to be executed tomorrow. What's the Cambrian explosion? I don't have much time left. It's nonsense.
Okay, I'm going to go with best worst. Wait, which side are you on?
Oh,
Because
yes.
this movie is anti-death penalty.
I literally have no idea. I'm not exaggerating. I don't know what they're saying at any moment.
Everything is which side are you on, right? Like the atheist character forgets that he's an atheist for about 11 minutes in the middle. Like it's spectacular.
And they both
in every
fake.
way.
At one point, they both like pump fake that they're Christian and then atheist, and then they're atheist and Christian. It's crazy. But I don't understand where they land for their message either. So
Yeah, I felt like there was a door behind one of them, and we just never got to it.
maybe.
A riddle.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll tell you all about William Lane Craig's version of the Saw movies, also known as Dead Man Rising.
From the makers of lots and lots of Oscars.
You're going to fry for what you did.
Yeah, that very well may be, but it won't stop me from being your friend.
Comes yet another movie about death row inmates and how bad you should feel for them.
Man, the food here sucks.
Does. All we did was murder people.
Because, like, you don't support the death penalty, but it feels weird for movies to just constantly use these people as a dramatic device to elicit empathy.
Yeah. Wait, what?
And then towards the end, they always do that twist thing where he's innocent or it was an accident or something. So you got to feel extra bad because the format is inherently aware that bad things happening to bad people is like the least empathetic situation you could elicit in a movie.
Feels like we're going to get emails for that.
This summer, death penalty movie.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get emails.
Am I crazy? Hi, I'm Eli Bosnick.
And I'm Andrew Torrez. You know, if today's movie teaches you anything, it's about the power of the internet.
Because if Sherlock can convince someone to love Jesus, what might your website do?
That's why there's Wix.com. Wix.com is the best way to bring your great idea or business to life. With over 500 gorgeous templates and their dead simple website builder tool, nobody makes it easier.
Get started now by going to Wix.com, that's Wix.com/podcast to get 10% off. That's Wix.com/podcast. And hey, if you don't have a business idea, Is the Shroud of Turin Real.com is available. Just saying.
He's right, you know, it is.
It's real?
The website's available.
Okay. And we are back. And this movie kicks off with a cold open on Black Hannibal Lecter. So that's a good start.
Pretty sure the people who made this movie just think that's like standard prison attire.
They do. Because we're going to find out he's wearing one of those crazy Hannibal Lecter masks. But we're going to find out he's not a cannibal. So the movie seems to think that just like major criminals need a muzzle. That's standard.
You never know. He could breathe fire. He's an arsonist. Let's just put the mask on him. Shits and giggles.
And while he's strolling down through the cold open wearing the mask, we get what I believe the radio is tuned to KXXP Exposition Radio, exposition and weather together on the 8s every 7 minutes, right?
It's very useful.
It's
amazing.
Delightful.
And we will learn that Amos, who is our protagonist, killed 11 people.
Daniel Amos, yeah.
Danny Ames. Danny E.
Yeah, killed 11 people, and they're walking him down to death row through a weird little system they have. They have like a roasty hallway to walk you through. There's like a little Soul Train roasting line for people about to get executed at this jail. And it's just people harassing him as he walks by. Yeah.
And if you want a reason to watch this movie, look no further than actors who have to yell prison insults at someone but aren't allowed to swear. Hey, man, you gonna be having a bad time.
Yeah, so now we cut to death row. The guards lock up Daniel Amos in his death row cell, and then they taunt him. The guard's like, all right, breakfast is at 7 a.m. Don't get too excited, though, because, we're going to murder you like right after that.
Yeah, we get the two guards. One is kind of the standard, 30-ish bald-headed guard. The other one is either fat Glenn Fry or skinny Chris Christie. I couldn't tell which throughout the movie.
Yeah, like if Chris Christie got caught in traffic that he caused.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, for a long time.
And the guy's trying to do like the sarcastic, like, and if you need anything fancy, like a pillow or but he can't act. And he's so desperately trying to remember his lines that he's just like, we have Eggs Benedict and oatmeal. If you're vegan, we make it with water instead of milk. Our specials today. And they're like, it's not working. Let me get through the specials, please. There's a salmon.
And this is when we also meet our other main character, his death row next to you cell buddy. They have neighbor cells in death row, and we're meeting this guy. Fish is his name. This is death row buddy.
Weirdest death row, right? Like, so he's supposed to be in isolation, but all the cells have bunk beds in them, right? And he's got a cellmate across the hall that he just chats with. And the movie spends a lot of time. I mean, I think like 11 minutes of runtime just on the neck of Fish. I was really, really hoping it was going to be like a bend over moment from Fletch Lives. But it was not, sadly.
No such luck. But yeah, he's trying to make conversation with a tattooed neck character, and we see him try to get this guy's attention for a while. However long you're thinking the hey scene lasts, it's about 4 minutes longer than that.
So you're going no shirt right away? Cool. I like your pants, I guess. What? You're not. You want to be death buddies, sir? Sir? I'm thinking of a famous person. And no matter what, this guy won't listen to him.
You used to work at the DMV? Because you seem like Heath, don't do this.
Oh, God. I had a lot of sympathy for Fish at this point, honestly. It was like when you go on an airplane and the asshole wants to talk to you. It's like, dude, I have a book. You can see my book. You need to get a book too, so that we can be not talking to me would be great.
Can I just say it's weird when you bring an extra book and force people to read it on planes. We get complaints.
So, yeah, Daniel gets angry, and then he starts yelling anti-Buddhist slurs at Fish, this guy who's being silent and just kind of like sitting there meditation style, cross-legged, facing away from him.
It's amazing. He is heckling a meditation. You ain't never going to find yourself. You ain't never going to find the difference between the stage and the actors. I'll tell you that right now. Right now.
Pink elephant, suck it. See? Something's in your head. I wanted Daniel to start meditating too, and then Fish is like, hey, shut the fuck up over there. Like all of a sudden it's in his head.
That meditating was my thing. Wild.
Also, can we talk real quick about the tattoo on Fish's back?
Oh, okay. So whoever's mom did the makeup for this was going for, I believe, a heart with a crucifix going through it, but it is very clearly a liver with a crucifix.
See, all this time I thought it was supposed to be a bottle of Crown Royal. Which is of course the Budweiser of whiskey.
Yeah.
I thought it looked like a fancy heart-shaped bottle of lube. Like, like Happy Valentine's Day, got you lube. Like, but there was a weird face in it because I stopped it and I looked at it. It was like an evil pumpkin inside. With a thorny crown around it. So like, okay, I get it. You're going for the Jesus thing. But like the evil pumpkin was confusing to me. I don't know.
I feel like that's on you. I don't want to call you out in front of all the...
You think I'm projecting something inside my psyche there?
Yeah, pretty sure you hallucinated an evil pumpkin because you've been alone for 60 days and 60 nights. I go to the restaurant just so that they have to talk to you. They have to say, what can you order?
Been alone for 37 years and 37 nights of years.
This review took a dark turn.
That's what the pumpkin keeps saying. Do you guys remember the scene where the pumpkin changed into the face of your dad and told you it played all those pranks on you because it hates you and resents you? That was weird. Am I right?
Really loves you and is proud of podcasting.
Pans back around. Heath is not talking into a microphone.
You don't owe me a whole bunch of money for that college education that you're not using. Cool. So next scene. Next scene.
There is a next scene.
Yeah. Now it's the next morning. So it's time for some more harassing the silent guy.
Oh, and he is monologuing over his own reflection. And at first I was like, okay, they went to the local community college and they ordered the finest actor at whatever college ended with a CC in it. But no, this is the author of this movie. So
is that?
Daniel is the author too? He wrote the screenplay?
Wow.
Well,
it's
now
a tour de force.
now it makes sense, right? Because for Law and Awful movies, right? Like we watch John Grisham movies. I mean, they suck at the law, but at least, you get Gene Hackman, you get Tom Cruise, you get people who can act,
Wilford Brimley.
Oh my God, that is amazing. But I forgot that coming on this show, we're dealing with the crowd of people that think Kirk Cameron is the height of acting talent. So yeah, we're stuck with the sub-community theater level of line. Yeah, it's amazing. There are times where he pauses mid-syllable. It's truly spectacular.
I liked Growing Pains a lot, to be honest. It took me a while. I had to reconcile this. I was like, is he a bad actor? Because I loved that fucking show. I had to go back. I don't know. The show's good. It was carried by, Alan Thicke, I guess, and Leo DiCaprio. Whatever.
I will watch Thick of the Night reruns anytime. So.
There we go.
Right. Anyway, so it's the next day. He's harassing the silent guy some more. And he wakes up. Daniel wakes up. And there's this one moment where he stares at his own reflection in his metal toilet situation.
Yes!
Which was weird. And I feel like that was making it worse. Like, when you guys, does this happen to you? Like, do you ever start crying in a mirror and it gets crazy? Like you become insane. You're like the dog having a cry fight with your reflection and you pointing at yourself and how much you're crying and your dad shows up.
I thought that only ever happened to me. Oh, I'm so glad I'm on.
Okay, no, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Oh,
right,
good.
Right. Yeah. Oh.
Locked in is everybody.
Very, very special episode of God Awful Movies, everyone. This is what happens when Noah leaves, all right? Invite him to your conference. He's supposed to give a speech. You come back. He's talking about his childhood. This is your fault.
Right.
We're doing a spit-off show. It's Heath and Andrew Discover Medication. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, I know some, but I don't have any professional versions of that stuff. Yeah.
Should have what I stole from that middle school.
So Daniel keeps harassing this guy and he finally gets him to wake up. He says the guy's magic phrase, which is, I need you. And Fish, the meditating guy, finally responds to him and starts being his neighbory cellmate guy.
Yep. And he does not ever acknowledge, by the way, that he ignored him for a day and a half. There's never a moment where he's like, sorry, I had a thing going on. He's just like, so, think you're going to find Jesus now that you're in jail? No skipping out, no nothing, no preamble, just like, so, you want to switch religions now that you're going to die?
Your name's Daniel Amos. Those are both names from the Bible. I know I just went right into that. And he's just like, yeah, dude, I'm just Dan. I mean, it's not Dan. It's just like the noise my mom went with, whatever. Yeah. But Daniel, we learn, means God is my judge. And Amos means carrying a burden. And then the movie starts kind of roasting itself. Fish is like, yeah, it's a little ironic, don't you think? It's a little heavy-handed writing, a little on the nose.
A little lazy, huh? I'm looking at you because you're the actor, but you also wrote the movie, so I'm looking at you.
We also see Daniel's tattoo on his arm. He's got like a phone number tattooed on his arm.
His ex-girlfriend's phone number.
Yeah. And they blur out the end of the phone number.
You know why?
Why would they use a real phone number? That can't be. It was clearly like Penn from 5 seconds before the take that put that tattoo there. Why?
Because the people who wrote this movie were so stupid, they could not make up a phone number. They were like, okay, so we're going to do the 555 thing, right? I don't know anybody with that number.
8675, don't say 309.
309. Yeah, but this would just be 86753 and then the smudge of ink on there. Yeah.
It's mostly sixes, by the way. If it's upside down, I noticed that the number on Daniel's arm. I don't know if they meant to do that on purpose. But yeah, we get more fish being. Can we just blow up the spoiler here? Fish.
I mean, if you want to ruin the movie for everyone,
are we really gonna do that? Is it not? His name is Fish.
His name is Fish.
And he's
cellmate.
He's looking a lot like Jesus. I'll just say that. He's looking very Jesus-y.
We'll just give you a little hint. We won't spoil anything. He turns out to be Christ of Nazareth. No spoilers.
Yeah. So they're going to be execution buddies. I guess there were like budget cuts, so they do it in pairs, and then I don't know. There's like electrical musical chairs. There's like a weird system to save money. Something's going on.
They do it in pairs, and they both bemoan the fact that they murdered people in the wrong state, right? They're both like, should have killed some old ladies in New York. Are you kidding me? Stupid. It's the worst.
Classic mistake. You got to murder people in those liberal cuck states or else you get in trouble.
Look, I'm sorry for one thing and one thing only. It's that I killed below the Mason-Dixon line. You know what I'm saying? I made my mistakes.
By the way, just quick question. Do you really get a last meal with anything you want? Andrew, do you know about this? Is that like official?
Andrew, question.
With given privatized prisons, I don't think you even get meals anymore. So no, I don't think so. Yeah.
For my last meal, I'd like to request, I'm going to stop you right there.
You will need to grow in a garden whatever you're about to ask for and then sell
your
the
last
rest.
meal was whatever you ate before you came here.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll inquire if there's anybody who's, knows anybody who's been on death row, or if you're on death row right now and you've got the internet, send us an email.
And there is no better use of the internet if you're on death row than downloading god-awful movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be with you the whole time.
It is certainly better than any use of the internet in this entire movie.
That's fair. That's fair.
All right, moving on. It's now the next morning, and we're in still jail. Let me go ahead and spoil it. We will not be going anywhere else. That's it. And the guard is waking up Daniel to give him breakfast and explain how he slept like guilty. That's something that exists, I guess.
I was watching you sleep. Please let me finish. And I know you're guilty because you were convicted. That's how I know.
Yeah. He's got the line. It's basically like, when I suck on the toes of people late at night in their cells, the guilty ones wiggle a little bit. Wait. I'll come in again.
Wait. What were you gonna say? Slower?
Yeah, but his actual thing is people who sleep well on death row are the guilty ones because the innocent ones are more upset about getting murdered. I'm unclear what this guy's philosophy is.
Makes total sense.
The innocent guys toss and turn. That's the theory. And I wanted Daniel to be like, okay, so you guys murder innocent people too, and then you collect the data on that, and then you graph it and you match it up with your notes about the sleeping? That's a weird thing you do. That's
gonna publish a paper. But now it's time for his lawyer to come in. Corbin Burnson.
Corbin Burnson. Yes.
That guy.
He is here. He is Daniel's lawyer. And he is not good at small talk with guy who's about to get killed.
He is not. Andrew, you are our resident expert on this, so I'm going to ask you straight from the hip. Worst movie lawyer?
Corbin Burnson is way up there. Like I love he walks in and says, well, if the judge decides to accept our appeal, and I'm sitting there going like, look, I get that Christians think due process is optional, but like this is kind of bizarre even for that. Like, what the hell kind of lay is if they accept our appeal, like a judge is going to look at it and be like, no, like there's a little too much Brownstein coming out on this appeal, so I think we're gonna pass over that one. This seems too ethnic. Like I don't know.
No.
And Heath, is it me or obviously I'm just disappointed at Corbin's post Major League, but doesn't he look exactly like Cal Ripken right now? Like they've morphed into exactly the same person.
Ooh,
yeah,
I see that.
He's got a little Billy Joel going on too. It's not great.
Oh yeah,
it's not great.
Don't you talk about the hog like that? It's the beginning and the end. But yeah, Corbin's here to deliver some bad news. They're going to execute him using helium, for funsies.
We learn here that like they switched around the lethal injection drugs as official policy. And so like the normal one they're supposed to use is on back order or something. So like we're doing flamethrower instead just for you because it's back order. You're going to have to deal with it.
I mean, just as a sidebar, like this is a real thing and it's a real problem in real states. And I spent like 4 hours looking it up until I watched the next 4 minutes of the movie and then realized that the movie doesn't give a shit. So why should I? But yeah, but no, like that's a real thing. Like they've just run out of the cocktail of lethal injection drugs. And so different states are like, we're going to experiment with stuff now. It's not a great.
And the wonderful thing about the real world story about this is like that the drug companies kept trying to make them, but then their shareholders and people were like, hey, why do you need to make that much benzenoid or whatever it was? And they were like, well, we use it sometimes for the aspirin and for murder of people. There's lots of uses and stuff. But yeah, apparently, they chose not prime on the shipping, so they're just going to let the janitor use his cleaning supplies. That's what he's here to tell them. Here's the best part. He goes, by the way, by law, if you want anything, aside from not being tortured to death, like, coloring book or something, I have to give it to you. Andrew, quick question. Is that true? Because I will go burn down 11 old ladies right now.
That it is not true that your lawyer has to randomly bring you whatever you ask for when you're in your little death row babysitters club there. No, that's not a thing.
Right.
Another
I got a
really
fire to
good
put out.
hint.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah. The protagonist here. Protagonist?
Is that, are we going to use the word protagonist?
I had to stop to correct myself there because he's the main character.
I felt like the protagonist was the time bar at the bottom of the movie for me.
Yeah. So whatever the word is for Daniel here, he snaps at Corbin Burnson like, I might even be dead by your next bowling night, which tells you that no one involved with this movie has ever so much as met a lawyer, which, hey, good for us, because that means when they sue us for defamation, that's going to be hilarious. So bring it on, Dead Man Rising.
They call Corbin. Hey, man, can you go over there? For the last time, I'm not a lawyer. Please.
How great would that be?
They don't know that. They do know that. They said it on the show. Nah, it's a double bluff.
And this is where Daniel asks to get the internet on death row. He's like, yeah, I want to look up some medical information. And Corbin Burns is like, dude, there's no antidote. He's like, I know. I was going to ask about that.
I wasn't. Really? Do you still want the internet? No, but because I remembered what I wanted to look up.
But apparently they're going to give it to him, or they're going to try. And then, in a minute, we're going to find out he gets the internet. Is that a real thing, Andrew? Would you get to the internet in jail on death row?
So would you get the internet in jail on death row that only displays apologetics? No, you would not get that kind of internet. And the like rejection screen that looks like the lockout from the end of Total Recall. No, none of that is a real thing.
Okay.
Oh, and it's just a little thing, but my favorite part of this scene is at the end. Corbin, who's been so nonchalant, he's classic shitty lawyer trope.
Yeah.
Just goes, all right, well, I'll see what I can do. May God have mercy on you. And then he just walks away, just like very casually, like, may sweet Lord Jesus, the guy in the cell across from you, come down and place his hands upon your eyes and bring you into his kingdom. May the road rise up to meet you forever and ever. Amen. All right, I'm going to go drive home in my weird minivan.
Peace. May God have mercy on your soul. Yeah. It's a weird little close. So Gordon Burnson leaves, and then Fish starts explaining the problem of evil by accident to Daniel. He's like, yeah, so just heard, may God have mercy on your soul. I mean, really? Like, how's that God mercy working out? Like, lock eyes with me. I'm shitting. We're on death row, and you're watching me shit.
Right, but we learn that that's because... Okay, we don't actually learn why they bring up the problem of evil, but Daniel does say here that he's an atheist murderer, and so is Fish. But Fish advises him. Fish is like, but hey, you might want to go all in on the Jesus thing. That's kind of our thing here in jail.
And for the second thing, right, like Fish is killing it here, like on back to back, right? Like so we've got, hey, how's that God mercy working out? Good question, never answered. And then he heads in with the, hey, why don't you find Jesus in prison, do that kind of last minute deathbed conversion, bam, off to heaven. And the movie doesn't even try and jingle any keys on that because that's a really good
No, they're saying that's the perfect plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think, right?
Yep. The whole movie is nailed it.
And then Fish also points out, he's like, hey, I mean, maybe you could fuck one of those murder groupies that exist that are into death row murderers.
Well, that definitely exists, but like where exactly is he going to get the time? Like I don't see that there's any conjugal visits scheduled while he's
well, look, he's going to get the internet.
Yeah.
He could ask.
I feel like I'd try that myself, but I'd end up getting friend zoned with a murder groupie, and it would be like extra embarrassing.
All right. Here you go, Mr. Enright, your one conjugal visit. Ooh, but like, I don't want to ruin our friendship. It's so special.
Complicated signals. We're in a fuck van. Okay.
Cool.
So, what song would you play next?
Also, he ends it by being like, and of course, if you want, you can hang yourself. And Daniel's just like, okay, not helping. I did think of that. Thank you.
Right. But he's like, I'm an atheist. I'm an atheist murderer. Death row is very difficult for me. Like, if only there was a better way. And rest of movie. It's so dumb. I think that's the only message I'm getting from this. And just, by the way, Fish is just being really annoying at this point. Like, and Daniel's like, great, I'm spending my final week in a cell next to, like, redneck Gilbert Gottfried. This is obnoxious. Like, I feel like you shouldn't do that. Like, there shouldn't be like buddies on death row like this, especially this one.
But how amazing would it be to ruin someone's last week on Earth, right? You just, oh, hey, how's it going? I'm the guy who will be across from you until the moment you die. Look me in my eyes. 100 bottles of beer on the wall. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do.
Okay.
What are you going to do? Murder me?
Eli in the cell next to death row cell is an amazing idea. That's a TV
Patreon
show.
gold.
Yeah. Crazy billionaire money.
Andrew, I even know how we'll do it.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I got charts.
Yeah.
All right. So from there, we go to a establishing shot of the prison so that we know time has passed.
Where we already were. Yeah.
Right.
Still also on Earth. Here's a shot from space. Yeah. Got it.
We see God looking at the universe inside a globe. He turns and winks to us. Just so you know.
Established.
I'm watching the movie too. But yeah, super duper casual sort of, this is the Don King of wardens, if you will.
Yeah. And He's here to tell Daniel that he's getting the internet. That worked. And he's just like, I'm Warden Dallas. This is my castle. And here's your internet. And at one point, he starts talking in just single words for a while. And it was very confusing. He was just like, death, pray, miracle, ears, sounds like he's playing a party game. And like, I had no idea what was happening. Thought like Fish was going to hit the taboo buzzer.
Oh, miracle. Sorry.
It was miracle. It was miracle. You can't say the word.
But yeah, he gets one battery charge of internet a day.
Yeah, that's how you measure internet. That's
right.
That's right.
And he can't watch porn.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there's a good solid 9 minutes of every character when Daniel is asking for internet access, being like, "Well, you can't do the here because of the like." It's just, yeah, we know you're not getting porn.
And to be fair, if I was in prison, that would be an awkward search history. Warden?
Hey, yeah. So remember when I said we were going to monitor your searches on the internet?
Yeah. Trying to find a way to get out of this place.
Nope. No, you are not. Don't say that out loud.
What are you talking about? I've just been searching for.
Okay, seriously? Okay, let's look at your search results. How to get out of jail.
Yep.
Sure. I mean, that makes sense, I guess. Effects of execution drugs. Okay.
Right, I was concerned.
But
that.
the next one is big fat nipples.
The drugs enlarge your nipples. That is how I found.
Do they?
Yes.
Okay. So then you search big fat nipples in socket.
Mm-hmm.
How many nipples can you fit in an electric socket? And then do prisons have electric sockets?
For the research.
Okay.
Question? Do we have electric
okay.
sockets, though?
Your nipple's in one right now. You know we have.
I mean, it'd be weird, but it'd be true.
Yeah, they got to deal with a great company called Cambridge Analytica. So we will be watching your browsing. No banned sites. And then the warden's like, okay, well, I'm going to take off. May God have mercy. And she's like, no. Corbin Burnson already used that one. Oh, okay. Seek and ye shall find, I guess. I don't know.
And that is our signal that this is the last we have to care about that bullshit plot, right? Like from here on out, this is not a movie. This is dueling oratory and setup for apologetics. There is no more movie. There is no more plot.
Yeah.
If you were getting excited, don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you hate audiobooks because you can't see the straw man, you're going to love the rest of this movie.
Oh, yeah. So Daniel fires up his new laptop and Fish immediately starts harassing him about how Christianity is dumb. Apparently, Daniel switched over from being an atheist murderer to a seeking Christian murderer at some point in like the last day. I don't know.
I call this section of the movie, we shot out of sequence and forgot to tell the actors.
Yeah. So he starts Googling stuff. He's just trying to figure out how to die faster because of that terrible news I heard. And he's just typing in like die faster poison atheist into Google. It makes no sense.
Not Google.
And what I love is he's Sherlock.
Yeah, sorry. Sherlock is the search engine they're using.
My favorite bit about this is that, Sherlock is actually a real search engine from like 15 years ago. This movie was made in 2018. I just want to point that out.
Who did they think they had to get the rights from to use the word Google?
Yeah, we were going to use Ask Jeevesus, but that actually wasn't. It was Sherlock. And Sherlock has the tagline, search and ye shall find, which I thought was actually kind of fun. That was good.
It's the little wins.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's heckling him, but at this point, Daniel is not trying to look up Jesus stuff. He's like, I don't know why you're busy searching for Jesus. And he's like, hey, yeah, your call to the atheist experience is fascinating. I'm trying to figure out how not to suffocate to death because they're just going to shake a bunch of poison up and inject it into my eyeballs. So I'll be right with you. And he's like, I'm just going to keep monologuing about very easily disprovable things. Jesus is based on other myths.
Oh my God. This was the first moment in this movie where I literally laughed out loud. The line is, Fish looks over and completely disconnected from anything else says, I used to believe in Jesus, but that's before I realized the Jesus Christ myth was based on Hercules. Hercules.
Interesting.
And then Daniel says, really? Hercules? And he's like, well, also Adonis and Attis and Osiris. It's the craziest out of the blue thing that I have ever seen in a movie. It's amazing.
Well, the problem is they very clearly wrote Problem of Evil, and they were setting up for the pattern of this movie, which is that Daniel Sherlocks it, and he comes back and he goes, no, man, Problem of Evil isn't real because blank. Except they tried that, and he was just like, jingly prison bars, jingly bars, like he's just smashing himself against them. So instead, what they do is they have him rapid fire a bunch of good atheist arguments and then a really, really stupid one at the end. And they'll be like, problem of evil, the problem of omniscience. Also, I heard Jesus didn't have no left hand in the book.
Right. Also, Greek mythology, the argument from Greek mythology. That's what we're getting here. And we're also watching a whole bunch of cuts of push-ups throughout this. Fish is doing push-ups, but not himself and not very many at once.
You know the beginning of Stripes when Harold Ramis bets Bill Murray $3 that he can't do 3 push-ups? Yeah, that's this movie.
Yeah. And then we get to watch Daniel look at a bunch of websites about Greek mythology versus Jesus. He actually Googles Greek mythology versus or he Sherlocks that. And I actually decided to check on that myself. My first result was from Answers in Genesis. That was the top thing. That is Ken Ham's thing. And I was like, yeah, so those Greek stories are super fun, right? No, they're not. False gods, trick question. It's like an angry, weird little article from Answers in Genesis.
Oh, it's amazing to watch like how Answers in Genesis has used Google Foo to accidentally trick people into thinking they're a science website, right? It's like, if you look up fossil record, but if you look up fossil record, we'll get you. We will get you Answer in Genesis.
Eli, do you think record and record are spelled differently?
I couldn't tell you how either of them are spelled.
Okay. All right.
Andrew Torrez, the turn right law.
Yeah, fair enough.
If you Google by talking only. Yeah.
So also a great thing here is like we see all the images of like the Greek pottery and stuff. And I wanted so badly for the guards to be like, okay, he's looking at Greek pottery. Is that technically porn? I feel like we should block it. I know what some of those pottery are going to end up looking like. Let him finish reading.
Yeah. And he's looking up different like resurrections that were supposed to have happened in mythology, but also in reality, apparently. And there's no evidence for resurrections. Like, stop pretending like it's the Zapruder tape. Like resurrected back into left. Like, fuck you. Absolutely not. No. The whole thing's like Lee Strobel's there. I was getting a lot of Lee Strobel in this movie.
So yeah, it's Lee Strobel refuting Richard Carrier here, right? Like that's the argument that they're doing, right? And it makes no sense as to lead with that argument, right? Because the parallels between Jesus and other myths is the kind of thing you say later on to Daniel's like, well, this is just the biography of Jesus. And, and then you might add in the like, yeah, it's kind of weird how you get the like miracle baby and then the one thing when he's 13 and then nothing until he's 30. And doesn't that seem to follow the Joseph Campbell, like mythic hero archetype? But like, you don't lead with that. It was weird.
And you certainly don't make it the foundation of your argument, right? You're not like, look, I have one reason and one reason alone for not being Christian. It's because I didn't get to hear about him in his 20s.
Hercules.
Yep. And then he's like, my next apologetic is the Shroud of Turin.
Oh,
We're in jail.
Literally, Fish's response to him being like, no, Jesus' myth is a totally...
Shroud of Turin. Okay, relax. Can you just write down your list of apologetics? I can read it later. This is exhausting. Yeah.
But we learned that, because this is where he asks him why Fish keeps asking all these mean questions, and we learned that Fish had a bad experience, and that's why he doesn't love Jesus anymore. And I wanted so badly for Daniel to be like, are you doing a doodly-doo over there? I'm outside the doodly-doo. Don't wave your hands.
Are you backing away slowly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the scene was over. I figured I would back away slowly. Yeah, so they do a doodly-doo. In fact, we get a flashback of Daniel doing the crime that got him in jail. He's lighting a garbage can on fire is all we see at first, though, so it's kind of confusing.
Lighting a garbage can on fire. Like, the only explanation for that is that the producer is so hacky that he was like, yeah, give me one of them garbage can on fire shots. And, and everyone around him was like, no, those are only for the post-apocalyptic hellscapes. He's like, nope. I demand must be one flaming garbage can right now. It's kind of like the John Peters in insisting that Superman fight the giant spider in the Kevin Smith Superman.
Exactly.
Script. Yeah.
This was his giant spider. He was like, garbage can on fire.
Remember how great Wild Wild West was? We need to fit that in. Yeah. So he lights the garbage can on fire. And we're about to learn that this is a senior center where this is happening. And they show us this by showing a pill bottle lighting on fire because, old people have medicine. And also one photograph of old people, which looked like a photo of American Gothic. So I was like, I guess he really hated that painting. I don't know what's happening right now, but we're about to learn it's a senior center that he lit on fire by accident.
Yeah, the budget for this movie included one plastic bottle and one photo. Like, that's all we have the budget to burn up here.
And fire.
Yeah. And a book of matches. One book of matches.
So now they're outside because they're those death row buddies that get outdoor time together.
Yeah.
And Fish wakes up on the bench outside. Like, how did that happen? Did they, take his bunk outside like the scene in Major League? Like, I wanted him to look up and be like, shit, I got cut already? Yeah.
Yep. So they're in the outdoor caged area now. And Fish is like, so you want to explain that flashback for the movie characters who didn't see it? Because we're in the movie?
That dream you had. What?
Yep. And they start by talking about how, oh, man. Yeah, so there's a flashback. You went to jail because I burned down a senior center. Too bad we're not birds, man, right?
and also, I just want to point out again, our protagonist, right? Yeah. Well, I did burn down a senior center and I was stealing valuable possessions from everybody who was in there. I mean, I didn't take their medication. That would be really awful. But yeah, the sympathetic character is stealing watches from old people and then burning their house down.
And Andrew, I'm not looking at the sentencing guidelines Excel spreadsheet. If people die in a fire you started accidentally, do you get the death penalty?
Look, I don't want to get too deep into the legal analysis of this movie or anything, but no, you don't get the death penalty for accidentally starting a fire that gets out of control. I mean, unless you're black and it's in Alabama, Texas, Georgia, North and South Carolina, never mind.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Tennessee.
The ones we're cutting.
West Virginia.
Yeah, right.
Lovely. We're killing people almost everywhere. Great.
But yeah, he says that he made a mistake. And then they have this weird moment. And it's not just in this movie. It's in every death row movie where one character has to go, gee, anybody could have burned down a building and killed 11 people while robbing them. sounds harsh.
Yep. Speaking of which, Shroud of Turin, by the way.
Yes, it's the best. This is literally how it goes. He goes, what do you think the guard would do if you climbed the fence right now? And he'd be like, he'd shoot me. The Shroud of Turin is real. I Googled it last night. I Sherlocked it last night. The Shroud of Turin is real.
It's a real piece of cloth, I guess. Like, that's not disputed.
Is it?
Okay.
Right.
So I never thought we would ever get to handle the Shroud of Turin here on God Awful Movies, and I am so happy. Let's talk about just a couple of the apologetics they employ.
Oh my God.
First of all, they tested it in the 1970s, and there is no paint on it.
So I guess Stephen Avery killed Jesus. I don't know what the fuck point they were making there. No idea. Yeah.
Yep.
And this is their trump card. This is like, all right, here we go. I'm going to turn you Christian. I looked up the Shroud of Turin. That's insane. You went to Ken Ham's website and you looked up the Shroud of Turin. Wow. Yeah.
Well, it's not quite their trump card. They also have that when they tested it, and it's absolutely not from the time that Jesus was apparently alive, and it's absolutely not made of the material that would be around at that time. They only tested the corner, and that corner is modern, but if you get it in the middle, it's Jesus-y.
There was a patch in the corner.
And their own evidence. They're like, well, the first time they did carbon dating, it said it was only 700 years old. But later, we see that it's consistent with this that's 900 years old. And you're like, this is your movie, guys. Like, why not? Like, as long as you're making it up, just be like, they carbon dated it exactly to 0. I didn't understand what
Jesus is also not from 900 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Why would you even say that? That's weird.
But now it's time for their real trump card. And this is why I had to push back on you, Heath. Sorry, because you see, there's an old prayer book, and that prayer book has 3 circles in it. Science. We are Christians now.
Oh, that little stick figure drawn by a child.
Yes.
That was like, yeah, so this is what, Jesus really looked like in the shroud. Look how the holes in this picture that was drawn match up with the real cloth. And did they carbon date the holes? They found real CO2 in the space of the holes. I had no idea what they were trying to say here.
I thought the trump card was the claim that comes immediately after that, which is another. It's the Shroud of Turin 2. They call it the Sudarium of Oviedo.
I love this thing.
And they have this CSI style routine where they say, look, the blood stains line up like a fingerprint. And I will tell you, I spent 6 hours on Google trying to figure out what the claim even is, right? Like, how can blood stains line up like it was.
Oh, but they don't even line up. I'm watching the movie and I'm watching them not line up. So what do you, I don't know. I didn't understand.
They literally cross them. They cross the 2 images across each other. They're like, look, if you line up this blood stain on that blood stain, and it's so clearly just a blob that means nothing that both actors sort of turn to each other and go, is that it?
Blob, blob. Nailed it. Yeah.
Nailed it.
So
yeah, my Google Foo took me to what I really think is the inspiration for this. It's an article in the National Review from 2014. So pro tip, don't ever read the fucking National Review.
Yeah. It's a good tip. Just in general, by the way.
Yeah.
Why do people think you print yourself onto stuff when you die? Why would your face Photoshop itself onto a blanket if you die while the blanket's touching you? I don't even understand the concept.
They have this idea that there was this electrical discharge and it zapped Jesus's face onto the Shroud of Turin. It makes absolutely no sense. I don't even know where it's supposed to come from.
I love the idea that Gospel of Thomas, right? Original Bible where the angels come down and unveil Jesus and roll back the rock for him. Mm-hmm. Jesus is like, wait, guys, 1 second. Presses his face against the shroud. That's going to be so funny in the Middle Ages. All right, let's get out of here. I'm going to go have people finger my holes.
Yeah. Also, just one other detail on this. I actually enjoyed the actor who is playing Fish. Was he not fun to you guys? Because he's doing his whole apologetics thing, or I guess counter apologetics thing. He's doing reverse Socratic method to like trick this guy into being Christian by pointing out atheist things just badly enough. I guess that's the theory. But he's going nuts. He's like trash talking after everything, and he's like doing dances when he thinks he makes a good point. At one point, he like he says something, he makes a point, and then he like runs to the back of his cell and clearly like ran up the wall and tried to do a flip up the wall, but they had to cut away because he definitely hurt himself. But I loved him just dancing around and getting all intense about it. Like I enjoyed this actor a lot.
Oh, he is me during every Facebook fight. You just replace Daniel with a computer, and this is, you ever want to know what it's like? Just shirtless, failing at push-ups and wall runs. Why?
I agree. I thought he was a really good actor, and when you fun trivia fact, he did not allow his name to be used in the end credits, right? There is no
he did not.
credit for Fish in the end sequence. I guess he was unaware of IMDb that he was going to forever be tarred with being in this movie. But no, he's been in like 40
he's in
or
real
50
stuff,
different TV shows. Yeah, he's a good guy, good actor.
All right, so they get through their first round of Shroud of Turin stuff. They'll revisit it a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
But now the warden's back, along with a doctor to check the blood pressure and body temperature of the guy they're about to execute, which felt like a weird precaution. Like, can't have you running a fever while we poison you to death.
It's amazing because they so don't know why a doctor examines you before an execution that the doctor literally goes like, well, we need to prove you're alive so that we can prove you're dead. We're Christians, so this is our standard of proof. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. And then we also learn that the doctor will not be the person who administers the lethal injection. Daniel asked him, he's like, so you're the doctor who's going to kill me then? And he's like, oh, no. We don't do that because that's murder and doctors aren't allowed to murder. So we farm it out. We figured, building full of murderers, let's see if the inmates, can show off their stuff a little bit. So they literally, in this movie anyway, are using inmates to inject people to get around the technicality of murdering is murder. Is that real? Does anyone know?
Real.
Are you serious?
Yes. So it's not, nobody successfully tried to do it, but there was a prison program where they were like, hey, we're going to have the inmates kill each other. And immediately the Andrew of that prison was like, yeah, guys, you can't. What? We're going to have Frank do it. No, you can't have Frank do it. You can't have Frank do it. But yeah, this is a real thing that they attempted to do that no one ever did, but they really tried.
Wow.
I like how you said, is that real? And I said no at the same time Eli said yes.
It was real in someone's heart, and that's what matters.
Well,
what matters is someone was sitting around a table and they were like, the doctors are being real bitches about this. Okay, I'm going to throw this out there. You guys don't like it. Throw it right back.
You know who won't be bitches about it? Murderers.
What if we got them to kill themselves and we all just watched?
All right, get Eli in that cell next to him. Go. God, yeah. And one other moment here in this scene, Daniel asked the doctor, he's like, so I heard there was like some complications with the poison you're going to give me. Is it going to be like slow or fast or like what's going to happen? And the doctor gives him a terrifying answer.
He's the worst. I mean, this is all true, but he has the worst bedside manner ever. All right, just give me your arm, please.
Sorry, just a little nervous about the execution.
I mean, you should be.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, like 3% of executions are botched. And that is self-reported numbers, by the way.
Oh. That doesn't
Yeah, you'd think
sound good.
that would like get better with lethal injection, but it's actually closer to 7% with those. So, youch.
Okay, well.
And that waking up thing that they said, that's real. Like, you see the drug, there's two drugs. One that freezes you and you can like still hear and retain consciousness. So you're basically like paralyzed, and then the second drug gives you a heart attack. Give me your ear for a second.
Cool. So maybe we could talk about how that's
at least you have the comfort of knowing that this is more expensive and we get it wrong all the time, and it does not work as a deterrent.
I would like him to leave.
I'm a doctor. And again, that's all true, but like
terrifying.
And again, this is moment like 6 of 34 in which the movie forgets that it's being pitched exclusively to right-wing Christian fundamentalists who are all uniformly pro-death penalty. So I would just love to know the like cognitive dissonance going on in their heads right now as they're watching. Like, boy, that seems bad.
Well, if you would like to see it on display live, you can check out the reviews on pureflix.com, or my favorite, the customer reviews on the Dub Reviews, which are halfway between your crazy Aunt Kathy's Facebook posts and like someone who can't stop confessing to crimes. They are fantastic. Check them out.
Wow.
Absolutely. The Dub Reviews are amazing. Yeah. So Daniel gets explained to him that, you're probably going to like wake up in the middle of this thing and you're going to be poisoned for a while and it's going to be excruciating. So bye. God have mercy on your soul. Seek and you shall find. Sorry. What's another one?
Republican.
Don't be Jewish. What?
I mean, don't, but feels should have been fancier.
And then at the very end of that scene, Fish taunts Daniel a little bit more. He's like, you're not going to get any like tombstone, right? And
seemed like a weird dig, right? Hey, you seem pretty upset about that whole being awake while they murder you thing. Nobody's going to write your name on a rock.
Okay, you done?
Okay, sorry.
Should we smash cut to the outdoor cage? Yeah, let's smash cut to the outdoor cage. That's the other spot where we do scenes, right? Cool.
Yep.
So that's what happens. And this is where we finally get some action in the form of a basketball sitting motionless on the bench next to them while they argue some more. That's the whole movie.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah, this argument, apropos of nothing, is that the Gospels were written way after Jesus was alive.
But the argument back is that Paul wrote about Jesus only like 25 years later, not like 50 or 100, like some people say about the other Gospels. They were so much later.
Yeah, but you're forgetting that also had a whole lot of hearsay explained in the stupidest manner possible. So that makes it better.
Right.
This was the strangest collection of arguments.
Also, 25 years is fucking slow, isn't it? So this guy, Paul, was like, okay, so this guy literally floated into the sky after getting crucified. Should I write this down?
No.
Nah. 25 years later.
Take a quarter
what
of a
was
century
pretty
off.
interesting 25 years ago in my life, now that I think about it? That guy who just floated into the sky. I'm going to write about it now. What?
You know what I have spectacular word-for-word recollections of? 1995. I'm real great at it. Yeah.
See, going to the store, going to get milk, eggs. 3 decades ago, I saw the newborn son of the Lord rise from the dead. There we go.
I'd write, now that I think about it, though, I mean, like, I'd write like a really important thing about how the 94 Rangers were amazing and Mark Messier might be the Messiah. Yeah, I can see it happening.
All right, there we go. See, fair and balanced. But white guy Fish is way ahead of us because literally every time Daniel talks, he is just making the exact same noises I was at this movie. He's like, well, James was Jesus's brother. And he's like, fuck your face. Fuck your face. Boo. Boo. Liar.
Jimmy Christ.
Liar,
you don't know about Jimmy Christ? That's that's nothing. Nothing you say is useful. You're just naming somebody. What does that even mean?
Oh my gosh, are you James Christ? Are you Jesus's brother? Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So, like, can you introduce me to him? No.
He doesn't like that. He said, I can't do that anymore.
What was with the weird aside with where he's like, Jesus had brothers, and he's like, yeah, sisters too. Like, I that just kind of hung out there. Like, is she hot? Like,
He's trying to set him up.
What was that?
And then Fish achieved something I have been waiting for 188 episodes now. The argument from come on! Which, to be fair, is literally my argument. Whenever Christians get in my inbox by accident and are like, I want to know how come you have not addressed, I just, come on! Come on! Really? Come on!
It's just like, come on, man. It's fiction. There's no way you actually believe you're a liar. Stop being a liar. We actually get to that point, which that made me happy.
Best.
Yeah.
He goes, stop being a liar. You're a liar. Come on. And I wrote my counter apologetics in 3 sentences.
Yep.
I mean, are we gonna let the actual apologetics go here? I mean,
No.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
No. Do you mean the argument from Alexander the Great also being resurrected and born from a virgin, according to mainstream historians? That argument?
Yes, that is precisely the argument that
because that's what's presented here. Yes.
That's deployed. I mean, literally, the fish says, so, come on, you believe in this crazy resurrection stuff, and then, born of a virgin, come on. And Daniel says, well, you believe Alexander the Great was real, right? And he said that his mother said that he was born of the god Zeus and that she was a virgin, and scene. Like I can only imagine that both of these actors like turned kind of Deadpool style, looked at the camera, was like, you're getting this, right? Like, they're all made up stories, right?
They did. It was like, all right, so Alexander the Great had the same origin story as Jesus. And then he's like, so those are both right or both wrong or one of each. Are you confused about the answer? Really? Are we still rolling? Yeah.
Line.
Oh, you were asking line? Line. Yeah. So I guess that's the end of that argument. Well, I'm going to go grab my bed sheet that has a sweatogram of my body and send it off to the lab so they can check if I'm in fact the Son of God. But before we take a break, so I can go ahead and do that, let me give Act 3 the hard sell. Who's the good guy? Is it the killer? Is it the other killer? Find out the answer is yes when we return for the extremely confusing conclusion of Dead Man Rising.
So, you want to interview my client?
Yes.
For your newspaper?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the publication called?
The You Killed My Grandma Daily.
The You Killed My Grandma Daily?
Yep, that's its name.
Yeah, this will surprise you, but I have not heard of that publication.
Well, it's a real paper.
Oh, yeah, it's a real paper. What's today's headline?
You killed my grandma.
Yeah, naturally.
No, with fire.
Sure. And does the You Killed My Grandma Daily have other sections? The sports, maybe? Comics? Weather?
Yep, a ton of them. Yep.
Well, all right, okay. I'm sold. Let's get you alone with my client.
Fantastic.
Hey, wait a second. Do you guys circulate Dave Barry?
Yes?
Voice of the nation, that guy.
Right?
Yeah. Just love it.
Dave Barry.
And we're back. When we left off, we were in jail arguing. We're still there. And now Corbin Bernsen is back with some news about an author who wants to interview Daniel. But first, we get some execution small talk. Corbin Bernsen.
It's amazing. How's it going? Bad. Right. Obviously, you are about to be murdered. You're like one of the last people because it's dying out as a barbaric practice. So yeah, I can understand.
No, death row's going really good. No, bad, obviously. You really need to think out your opener next time, dude. You're a lawyer. I don't like talking to you. It's this every time.
How's it lethal injecting? Stupid. Sorry.
I feel personally attacked right now, but that's fine.
Do you think out your openers when you talk to death row people when you're lawyering?
I don't even know where to begin to answer.
What do you lead with? When I'm on death row, you're going to need to have some clever banter. Get it
Me
ready.
Me and Heath are on death row right now. We murdered Neil Gorsuch to protect constitutional diocese.
No one murdered Neil Gorsuch. I refuse
What do you say?
to entertain this hypothetical. These
I just
are
want to know what you're
jokes.
going to say to us.
No,
Hello.
I just want to make it clear to the NSA that no one here is serious about actually murdering Neil Gorsuch. This never happened.
And
Or
Andrew's
you're gonna
stalling because he doesn't have a good opener. Cool. So, bunch of terrible small talk, and Daniel's like, all right, man, do you have any good news? And Corbin Burnson says, well, I won't get the bad news until tomorrow. Is that helpful to you? You're going to get murdered still. That's still happening.
Yeah. What he actually says is, I'm going to sit down with the judge tomorrow and see if he'll give us an appeal. And that is, again, the definition of fractal wrongness, right? Like, you don't sit down with the judge. You don't go separately. It's not up to the judge to decide whether you get an appeal. Like, what? How did these, like, these people, that they have the Alliance Defending Freedom. Come on. They could have talked to a lawyer before making this.
You might
movie.
as well get a tweet from the judge at this point, just being like, nope, gonna murder you. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I tweeted, like, if you're going to give an appeal, retweet if you've already decided. And Daniel, he retweeted the shit out of that.
You're laughing now, but we're one Trump re-election away from that happening. So.
That's Elon Musk's plan for the justice system. It's going to be fun. Yeah. But we learn about this author, and they're going to be on TV maybe. Corbin Burnson's all excited. He's like, yeah, I got you a book deal and like a TV deal, like a lifelong holding deal. I'm going to be in it too. I'm also going to be in it. It's like, there it is. Okay.
He's trying to cajole him. He's like, come on, little ad for me. Maybe I make it into Christian movies. I'm just saying things could. Don't be a dick right up until you die, huh?
Maybe Major League 5. No,
I
you
keep
need to let me
calling
get on TV.
Charlie Sheen, but that's he's not in the phone book. I just called Charlie Sheen's in the phone book.
And then Daniel says after the pitch, this is the weirdest line. I had to watch it like several times. I couldn't tell if it was like ADR'd over it or whatever. He says, awful of you to ask first, right? Not awful nice of you, awful mean of you. But the only thing I can think is that every single take he was like, well, it's awful white of you to ask. Cut. All right, let's try it again. Awful white of you to ask for.
That's a term. It's, you could say mighty white of you. It's WITE, I think. It's different. No, it's with an H. It's with an H.
No, definitely with an H.
It's like record.
It's not like that.
But not record.
Yep. And this ends, by the way, with Corbin Burnson asking Daniel, he's like, so, man, were you ever, like, good at being a thief? Did you ever steal something without burning 11 old people alive?
People?
No.
Yeah, his actual response, man, I couldn't steal my mom's heart. And there's this amazing pause where Corbin's like, is that like a cutesy way of saying your mom didn't love you? Yeah.
Yep.
Bye.
Okay. Gay people are an abomination and they should be stoned to death. Bye. Cool.
I'm the author of this movie.
So Daniel goes back to Sherlocking. And this time he wants to know about near-death experiences. So he's Googling NDEs.
Literally, all of my notes at this point are just, yes, movie. Yes. Yes. And the first thing he reads, by the way, upon researching it, that there are 774 near-death experiences a day in the United States.
How the fuck would you estimate that number? What would they be basing? I don't understand what they're even saying. But the guards are into this too. We cut over to the little guard office area, and one of the guards is watching him. You know, he has like a screen so he can see what Daniel's searching for. And he's like, oh shit, NDEs. This is interesting.
Yeah. That's our buddy Fat Glenn Fry again, who writes NDE on a piece of paper in letters large enough that grandma at home can see it, right? And then he slowly closes the door to the guard shack.
Is that his kink? Or like NDEs? Like, I was confused by that.
Oh,
Too.
here we go. He found the loophole. Good times are. And Heath, you asked a pretty important question, is where would he get that number from? Well, I happened to Sherlock 774 NDEs, and it took me to nderf.org. It's a charity. Keep it up.
What?
Here's how they do those numbers. You ready? This is right on nderf.org. Again, charity. The prevalence of NDE in the adult population has been estimated by several major surveys. A Gallup poll in 1992 led to an estimate that 13 million Americans had experienced an NDE. The population of the it gets so much better.
They polled America, so they were like 1 to 10. How close were you to death? And like they took 8s and above as near.
Oh, there is no citation for that Gallup poll, so that we are starting with a lie. Okay,
If you've died, please.
yeah, Richard. So from there, the population of the United States in 1992 was approximately 260 million, leading to an estimate of NDE prevalence of 13 million divided by 260 million, or 5%.
5% of people almost die every year and don't?
Yup.
Okay.
Therefore, 774 NDEs occur daily in the United States.
Wait, you're still missing a numerator in that equation.
Thank you. You are. That's great. And luckily, nderf.org answers any queries you might have. Here at the end, this is signed Dr. Jeff, by the way.
Oh.
I recognize this methodology has significant limitations.
Like numerators are missing, limitations.
Here's what he thinks the limitations are. 1, the number of adults would be constant between 18 and 74. 2, it overestimates the average adult age. 3, it assumes the probability of NDEs occurring is constant across all of the ages. In spite of these limitations, the estimate of number of NDEs occurring per day is probably accurate within an order of magnitude.
So, because if you're like 95, you just like almost die every day until you die.
Yeah,
I feel like
fair.
you get like a bunch of NDEs, just you're constantly doing that. That's like infinity.
Signed, Dr. Jeff.
Dr. Jeff, I like that. Sometime we're going to have to go visit like the tin shed that Dr. Jeff works out of.
Practices in.
Oh my
He'll
God.
facilitate an NDE for you.
It'll be like flatliners. It'll be great.
Yeah, okay. So Daniel learns about NDEs, and then he's like, all right, I got to tell my death row buddy about this. Hey, wake up. More arguing now. It's a guy. I Googled something again.
Hey, are you awake? How high could you pile the biographies of Buddha?
And then we get some more beautiful acting from Fish here. He's just like, yawn, boring. Those people weren't dead. You're stupid. Yawn. Drugs do that. The effects you're describing are drugs. You're a dumb person. Yawn. It's pretty great.
I do have to point out here, though, in the continuing saga of Fish trying to do a push-up, he gets down on the floor and does the worm instead. It's the greatest.
He does.
Yeah.
Yep.
He starts doing the sun salutation at one point here too. Yeah.
Anything but a push-up. I get it. I've been there.
But the argument, the hey, you awake? That argument that Daniel decides to lead with is, in NDEs, half the people saw themselves outside their body. And I was just thinking, like, what does that mean as an apologetic, right? Does Jesus just like flip a coin and go, oh, yep, sorry, like you're going to have an NDE, but you don't get to see yourself outside that. What the hell is that?
Yeah. So he debunks a bunch of Daniel's NDE claims. And then Daniel gets mad too. He's just like, man, you always do this. Like, I wake you up to bother you about my awesome Lee Strobel thing, and you always make me look dumb. I fucking hate you. I don't want to be your execution buddy anymore.
And this is where we get an apology that I think all of us have dealt with at a time, which is the agnostic thing. Where it's like, so you don't know that God's not real. And he's like, no, I don't know that God's not real. And he's like, so you're an agnostic, which is basically a theist, but with the letters rummaged around, right? And again, I love Fish because Fish is just like, boo, boo, no, yoga.
And Daniel's like, I don't know, man. Why do you even care about this? And Fish is like, I'm bored. I don't fucking know. You keep waking me up with this shit. Yeah, I try to answer you. God, you're the worst. I don't want to be your execution buddy. I'd like to leave now. So they wrap up their little argument there. And now that author we were talking about before, she shows up to interview Daniel about his fascinating story of arson murder of old people.
Oh, and they, by the way, it's amazing because they bring her over and he's like, don't get too close. He could honk your boobies. I don't know. We're not allowed to say what he would do because it's a Christian movie, but just don't get close.
It's exactly the like, hello, Clarice moment. But he's just like, hello. Oh, so you're like the opposite of Jodie Foster.
Yeah, yes, she is.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then it just really kind of hit home that, in a movie in which the dueling protagonists are murderers, like the one person who's filmed like terribly in this, right? Like that gets the like bad lighting and awkward angle, and it's clear you're supposed to like rise up and throw fruit at the screen is, of course, the woman, right? The only woman character in this entire movie.
The upset woman, the grieving woman is the only thing we get that's close to an antagonist in this movie.
Yeah, she's the bad guy, right? Yeah, so just to be clear, this woman is not, in fact, an author. She is the granddaughter of someone who got murdered by Daniel in that fire, but she's pretending to be an author.
Yeah, she's pretended to be an author so she can come in and say scary things about being executed.
Yeah, and look, I agree. That's a little bit of a dick move, but still, like, our grandmother was burned to death by this guy. Like, we should be sympathetic to her.
I'm having trouble relating to our protagonist in this situation. I mean, it's not nice, but it's also not nice to light them on fire.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. She starts slow here. She's like, so, how are you? And his real response is, I would say I'm medium. Yeah. And I just wrote in my notes, the Heath Enright story. But she does have one fantastic trump card here, which is the story of the guy that is true, by the way, that they couldn't find vein in him. So they tried to put it in his thigh and missed, and lethal injected him in the balls.
What? That was
true
real?
Story. This is real.
Maybe we shouldn't murder people.
She's using it as like a scary story to spook him.
Well, and by the way, me. I mean, that worked.
And she's not allowed to say dick. So she goes, they missed his thigh and they got his soft tissue.
Is that what that was trying to be? Okay, well, now that makes a lot more sense.
Right, she's just trying to rattle him.
Yeah, I thought she was just extemporizing medical terms, and that was all she could come up with. But no, that's...
Nope, that is Christian movie for we once lethal injected a guy in the balls.
Also, by the way, while this is all happening, Fish from behind her starts reaching his arm out of his cell like he's going to grab her,
strangle
kill her, hit her,
absolutely.
Something. And again, just to be clear, he's Jesus. He's the Jesus character, and he's trying to strangle this lady. Like, what the fuck was the message here?
How amazing would it be if Jesus put her in a chokehold and murdered her?
Well, look, let's be clear. You're saying the Jesus character, but he's not like the Jesus character, right? Simon from Lord of the Flies Jesus character. Like, he's literally Jesus.
No, he's Jesus of
Nazareth.
Nazareth. Yes.
And this scene is, look, even Jesus is tired of this shit, and he's about to choke the life out of this woman.
Oh, you don't know what I do to olive trees, lady. Get over here. It's amazing. And the only thing I wrote in my notes is he's playing my convention games, because this is what I like to do to Heath and Noah is I will wait until they're having a conversation with someone, and I'll pretend I'm going to hurt the person so that they get distracted, and then I look away. If you ever see me creeping up on you at a convention, it's because you're talking to Heath, Noah, or Andrew.
I was just going to say, I'm not surprised that I haven't seen this before, because I think Eli only hauls this out at conventions where I do not attend as representative of Puzzle in a Thunderstorm LLC.
Andrew gets negative about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So they finally wrap up their little conversation, and she's like, okay, I'm allowed to like punch you and knock you out for 48 hours because you're black. Bye. That's in the Bible too. And then we cut to the next morning, and Daniel tried to hang himself with his blanket after this terrifying conversation with the granddaughter of the person he killed.
He tries to hang himself. The guard comes in, takes him off, pulls him off, and he goes, why would you do that, huh?
He's mad at him. Like, you're ruining my stats, bro. Like, come on. My entire job is don't let him die until we kill him. And now, look at it. Now he like walks over to like days since a workplace hanging 0. Like, fuck. Okay.
I am so disappointed in you.
and let's point out that this movie's idea of tried to hang himself is sat on the floor with a blanket wrapped around his neck, right? Like, this is the least believable hanging scene that I have ever seen in any movie.
Yeah, he fell asleep in his very comfortable hanging rig. Like, that's probably a good sign it's not going to work if you like nod off a little bit during, like he was trying to take a nap on a plane and just like hold himself back a little bit. That's what it looked like.
And so the guard is like, look, I learned all about Jesus because of you. Please don't try to hang yourself again. Here is literally the blanket you just tried to hang yourself with back.
Yep. And the point is that like this is going to be his ally now. Like this guard is also Christian. He's just like, yeah, we're both Christian. I get it. We should focus on how sweet it's going to be after we die. Is that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird moment where he's like, you're a Christian now, so obviously you don't want to kill yourself and go off to live for infinity years in paradise with, you know what, let's not think about this.
No, because then you don't get to go to the nice place. You just like 2 more days, man, tough it out, and then infinity on the other side. What?
Cool. You want to Google some more stuff? I'm done with this conversation.
Just Google some more stuff.
I have some B-roll of the Discovery Channel that it's time to watch in the middle of this movie.
It's true.
That is what's about to happen. Yep. Daniel does some more Googling. And this was one of the craziest parts. This was like what I was talking about in my best worst. Daniel starts Googling. He's like, okay, dear internet, how was the universe created? And the internet comes up with like, well, first of all, is Al Gore and socialism. You're welcome. Also, it was created as fish and rocks and sand.
And the Pillars of Eternity. Don't forget that.
Yeah. By the way, I checked this too. And if you had actually clicked on the first thing, you would have seen something like, soon after the Big Bang, primordial protons and neutrons formed the core. Cut. No, we're not using that one. So we get fish, sand, and rocks, which was the origin of the universe. Yeah.
Keep going. Second page of Google. Third page of Google. There we go.
Yep.
But we get a great argument against the Big Bang here, right? So it's time to go back to the South, time to argue. And he goes, look, just because the Big Bang Theory, the best television show of all time, uses it in their fancy intro doesn't mean it's true.
Fuck, that theme song is like the foundation of my worldview. I need to re-examine my life. And we also get that old thing of like, well, it's called the theory of evolution.
Yes!
Not the fact of evolution. Like, we don't call anything the fact of itself. We just say the fucking words. There's not like a big graduation ceremony in like Norway. Like, okay, the theory of gravity is now the fact of gravity. Congratulations.
We did it, everybody.
Congratulations to all the math.
Mission accomplished. Time.
Yeah.
Unfurl the banner. Yeah. And the argument we get in this segment is the Discovery Institute Cambrian explosion argument. So I actually freeze framed on the screen to see where their text comes from. It comes from a middle school textbook. Right?
Always a good source.
I Googled it, right? And even then, the middle school textbook says the Cambrian explosion was a relatively short evolutionary event beginning around 542 million years ago and lasting 25 million years. So, this whole everything happened instantaneously in the Cambrian explosion is 5,000 times older than creationists think the universe is. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And again, I love Fish in this scene. And Fish answers all of these questions exactly the way I want him to. He's like, how come we don't have all the fossils? That's you. That's you.
Also, it wasn't like 3, 2, 1, Cambrian explosion, done. Yeah. And yes, it does work with evolution. Yes, it does. You know what it super duper doesn't work with? A wizard from 6,000 years ago. Yeah.
Also, this is a new one. How come we can't fuck a dog and make a dog baby?
That's a real argument really made in this segment.
This is the question that this movie's not afraid to ask.
Oh, God.
We also get the how do you get something from nothing argument.
Why do we have free thoughts? So Heath, a little bit on your side here. There you go.
Yeah. That was just so I could argue with you. I don't even remember how that came up. Whatever you said, I was just anti-Eli in that moment. Yeah.
I just said whatever you said the opposite of.
Did we just become best friends?
We have so much space for activities. And then, of course, we have my favorite anti-evolution apologetic. Art and music are not sharper teeth.
Yeah.
You've skipped over the most persuasive argument in this section, which is the argument from, I don't know what carbon dioxide is. No, neither do you. There's this delightful point where they're like, look, plants give us oxygen and food. And what have we ever done for them? And Fish does not go, carbon dioxide. But
we burn coal and oil to help them out.
Which they love. I am the science advisor to Donald Trump until I die.
Yeah. And meanwhile, in the exact same place, Corbin Bernsen is back to apologize about getting tricked by the grieving lady into thinking she was an author.
Amazing. Hey, my bad. On book lady. Did not Google her name. Should have. That's on me.
I thought it was going to be like, but you did murder my dad also, so flamethrower. Yeah. But he's there to apologize to Daniel about that. And then he's like, so is there anything I can do to help now? Daniel's like, vote for Hillary? I don't know. Vote for Hillary. Can you watch me get poisoned? Can you be there and watch me get poisoned?
He wants the guy who just let a woman who tortured him to come. He's like, hey, you come, I don't know, maybe start a chant. Just when it goes in, just USA. You always like a good USA chant. Just start one.
I need someone in my corner. He actually says that. Like a cut man for being poisoned.
Well, little Mac, right? Yeah.
And then we get a little more arguing with Fish. They're back at it. He actually brings up wind as evidence for intelligent design. And Fish is like, wind? Seriously? You're going with the argument from the air moving? That's the beautiful intelligent design you want to go with?
Yeah.
And then we get one of my favorite lines. Daniel responds to that. He's like, now a smart man or an intelligent man knows that a tomato is a fruit. I have issues with that already, but he continues, but a wise man knows not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. So join my religion called tomatoes are vegetables. Yeah. Also, why can't a tomato go in a fruit salad?
Yeah, it's not even a great metaphor because you sort of think about that and you're like, I don't know, kind of like the salty,
like
with
a
the
really
sweet.
good tomato.
Yeah, a fresh,
or like one of those little
nice.
yellow cherry tomato. You know, like the little.
Oh,
I don't know.
Phenomenal.
It's not orthodox, but
I wanted fish to get lost in that side of the metaphor. Just be like, actually, that sounds pretty tasty. I'm going to request that for my last meal. No, don't request my metaphor as your last
I'm going to
meal.
go a different metaphor. Okay. We also get the argument from all the gases. Daniel's like, think of all the gases. And Fish is
The Eli
like,
Bosnick story.
and Fish is like, first of all, the Eli Bosnick story. Also, did it. I thought of all of them. Are we done?
Got it.
That's
Nailed it.
stupid. Yeah. One other argument we get from Fish at this point is like, I don't know, man, maybe the universe created itself. And Daniel's like, well, that's not observable science.
My invisible friend
Is that the rule now? Yeah. Are we playing with observable science only now?
That was a weird retort.
And then we get this amazing not Christianity for a second, right? He goes like, look, man, I believe someday the universe will die. The last star will go out and all will be darkness. And in that moment, a single note from a song will ring out and we shall ride white horses. And you're just like, this is not Christianity, baby girl. I got some bad news for you, man. Whatever you saw in that shroom strip is not in the Bible. That did not make it through a Nicene Council.
And basically the whole point of this is like, Daniel read about some atheist people being wrong about certain things. Therefore, Christ is God. Like that's the general theme.
No, the actual line that Daniel says is, I found enough holes poked in the theories of non-believers that I have no choice but to believe in God. And I just can't parody that any better than
Yep.
I guess that's the way they think it works.
And they do also get to the like, yeah, but if God doesn't exist, there's no point to life. And Fish is amazing. Again, Fish is just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why does it need a point? Do you want me to give you a point? I can give you a point. You got to eat all the jelly beans. Stop. Don't do that. That's my purpose now. Stupid.
I talk now. I have no response. I'm a man of faith. And I'm obviously crushing it. Lock eyes with me while we shit. Yeah. And that's the end of that. And then just as Daniel makes his pithy closing remark, the guard conveniently shows up with his final meal, which is a loaf of bread. His last supper, so to speak.
And Glenn Fry pulls out a little airline bottle of Gallo out of his pocket while surreptitiously looking over his shoulder. You know,
And
being
some
like,
Jesus blood. That's right. Yeah.
Stop staring into the camera. This is how people know you're hiding something. Don't just look away. Okay.
Did you keister that bottle of Jesus blood? I did keister that blood.
Yeah. The set demands, because he's like, come on, Daniel, bring your glass over here. And it demands that there be a styrofoam cup inside the cell, right? Where did that come from? Who knows? Go fuck
I
yourself.
want the internet and a styrofoam cup.
If you can stop at 7-Eleven, get the mediums. I don't need a big gulp, right? Like that's a little too much. But, Diet Coke, medium, thank you.
Maybe solos? Could we get solos? But not the reds. Everybody does the reds. And then you try to sell cups at your party and then they bring them. I want like purple solos. That'd be great. Yeah. Also, by the way, this is your last meal. Couldn't you like also get a fucking steak or something like and bread?
Yeah, I'm going to do this thing with the bread here, but first,
But
I really
also
like
a steak.
meal.
Like I feel like I can do my dumb bread thing either way.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian now. I can have Chick-fil-A. I'd like Chick-fil-A, please.
Oh,
Only
it's
reason to be a
Sunday.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's the worst. Turns out they were giving a bunch of money to anti-gay charities, even though their super best friend promised they wouldn't. Hate your Chick-fil-A. Stop playing with my emotions.
Yeah. So they finish up their bread and wine together. And then we get to talk with Fish a little bit more. And he's just like, all right, so getting executed today. Feeling medium? How you doing? Cool. By the way, I'm Jesus. I've been dead the whole time, in case that wasn't clear. Fish, remember? Pretty awesome.
And I was totally going to strangle that lady, too. Remember when she came in to interview you? Oh, fuck.
What was that? Are you like a killer Jesus? That was very confusing.
I'll fuck a bitch up. You read some of my later work. I've got a sword in my mouth. I am not a peaceful figure by any stretch of the imagination.
If his sword just out of his mouth was slowly reaching towards him.
Oh.
That would have been excellent.
What I wouldn't give for a horse locust right about now.
Oh, so good.
Except on this movie's budget, it would just be like, the writer's dog with like a little horn taped to his head made out of paper mache. Yeah.
So it's time for the execution, but first they got to change him out of his regular jail outfit into his death jail outfit.
Dramatic effect outfit.
They can't we reused the orange jumpsuits, so there's a fee if you don't return it. You're gonna have to give it back. I don't know what they're doing here, but they switch him out.
I
for
think
white
you're
stuff.
reading way too much into you have to be in a pure white snow outfit and strapped down in the cruciform position. Okay, like some people just see metaphors everywhere.
And that's real, too. They actually tie you to a cross when they execute you.
That's insane.
That's the best. Come on. That means two guys sat around in the room planning lethal injection, and one guy was like, hey, Rick, you know what would make it awful easy to get to people's veins? Don't do it. I'm just saying it would make it super easy if we tied him to the most popular religion in this country. The most popular religion in the country. When we murder people.
So this is the very end of his time with Jesus. But by the way, that's a weird assignment for the Son of God, isn't it? Jesus has to appear as an atheist and argue with you for a while until you believe in God for angry spite.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just a strange way they do it. How do Christian people know I'm not Jesus when I argue with them? I don't know. I'm going to point that out.
I don't think they do know that, especially if they watch this movie. But yeah, it's time for his execution, and dead grandma lady is there, and she's super psyched. I wanted her to have a foam finger. And then they ask him his last words. I didn't realize they do this. This is amazing.
Oh, do they really do that? They really have okay, last words.
And you get to be like, suck my fat dick. They have to let you say, suck my fat dick.
Do they?
Someone will write it down. Andrew.
This sounds kind of like the cop has to tell you they're a cop if you ask them when they're undercover.
There's no way they can stop you from saying, suck my fat dick. What are they going to do? Execute you?
Yeah, execute you again? Yeah.
Think about how amazing it would be to be strapped to that gurney to a cross. And on the other side of the mirror, there's the grieving families of the people that you killed. Any last words? And you just go, suck my fat dick. That's the best. They're going to remember that forever. And they're going to blow out birthday candles and be like...
The last minute of Eli's conversation is going to be used at his commitment hearing. I feel like there's nothing better than being strapped in a cruciform position. No, this is not well. Get help, please.
This is the bet. You don't have a good idea of prank wars. That's how you win forever.
That's how you win once.
You win for it. No one ever thinks about anything. They're going to sleep that night and they're like, suck my fat dick. Really?
Is that what you're going with though, Eli? What
Absolutely.
Give it another thought. What are your last words? You got
okay. Better than suck my fat dick. Someone else go.
All right, I'm strapped down. The people I killed or victims of the family.
They're on the other side of the glass. Your lawyer. So Andrew's there. You can have family there. You get last words. What are your last words?
I feel like I'd freeze up and be like, pass. Shit.
Mine would just be, yeah, for the 13th time. Okay, the problems with libertarianism are as follows. 1, there's no original theory of acquisition that stands
Robert Nozick didn't even like that shit. You guys are dumb.
God. Yeah.
I'm sticking with suck my fat dick.
Suck my fat dick? Okay, final answer.
Yep.
You've thought it through once,
Absolutely
twice.
thought it through.
You're sticking with suck my fat dick. Okay, fun.
But yeah, they inject him and he dies and the movie ends with a A song about a slave trader who was sorry so backsies.
It really needed the real Breakfast Club close here, right? Like we just needed Jesus jumping up into the air and fist pumping. Yeah.
Yeah. And it ends with, I guess what they thought was like the big action moment in this movie. It's a heart monitor screen. That's all we see. We get like O Fortuna playing in the background, like, ha, 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 beep. Ha, 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 beep. Beep. And that's it. That's the end of the movie.
Not beep. Yeah, exactly.
That's the end of the movie, but did you guys watch the credits?
Absolutely not.
The
I
credits,
absolutely watched the credits.
Yeah, I was going to say the credits are better than the actual movie, including the disclaimer at the end, which I am not making this up, says the characters and events depicted in this photo play are fictitious. Well, except for Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Any similarity to actual persons living or dead is purely coincidental. Well, except for Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. It's the best.
Yeah, so that's where they close it. And then they do the credits about everybody was fake except Jesus. Wow. So Jesus appears to the guy who killed 11 people at the end, and he's like, you did great. You're coming to paradise. Please don't burn any buildings down while you're in paradise. My religion makes perfect sense. The end. And that's it. All right. So last thing before we wrap it up.
I'm sticking with suck my fat dick. I told you.
Okay. Different question.
All right.
I'm curious how you guys would handle death row personally. So like if you had to Pascal's wager on one religion while you're on death row, which one would you pick and why?
Well, obviously what you have to do is avoid the worst afterlife, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I just right now, I just Googled worst afterlife, and the first hit is a sect of Hinduism called Vaishnavism. They believe in 3 kinds of souls. They pre-exist God, so God doesn't make them this way, but you have good souls, they go to heaven. Bad souls, they go to this horrible, terrible hell. And then the mediocre souls, I'm not making this up, the mediocre souls go to a plane of permanent mediocrity for all eternity. And I just don't think I can live with that. So.
Oh, that's amazing.
Hanging out in an IKEA being like, it's okay.
Yeah. Wow, that's
okay.
Eli's nightmare. It's normie purgatory.
Yeah.
It would be the worst. Just a series of women with weird eye makeup being like, I have some notes on your jokes, and me being like, no! Oh, I wish I had killed some kids. Why didn't I kill more people? No.
Suck my fat dick. I'm going to murder you.
We have carrot cake. No! Okay, I'm going to go by popular vote, and I'm going to go with Islam. Also, I hate hot soup, so I'm really not into there now. I don't want the hot soup.
They're very specific about that. All right, well, that does it for our review of Dead Man Rising, but that's not going to do it for the episode just yet, because we still need to get you excited for next week. So, Eli, tell us, what's on deck?
Well, we've got to keep Andrew in business, so we'll be reviewing Unplanned. It's the totally true story of a not spy who didn't get caught and write a book about how she caught Planned Parenthood marking up babies as popcorn shrimp.
Oh, good.
I'm excited.
Great. So I get to go to a theater in the state of Kentucky next week.
You
Fun.
do?
All right. Well, with that to look forward to, we're going to bring episode 188 to a merciful close. Big thanks to Andrew Torrez for joining us today.
Woo!
And just in case anybody's new, where can they hear more P. Andrew?
Opening Arguments. That's
All
it.
right. Go to openingarguments.com. Do you guys have that?
Openargs.com.
Openargs.com. I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nobody has time to type out all of opening and all of
It
arguments.
took me, I was exhausted after saying that just now. Great.
Yeah.
Openargs. And as always, huge thanks to all the patron donors who help make this show go. If you'd like to help us out, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/godawful. And if you enjoyed this show, be sure to check out our sibling shows, The Scathing Atheist, Citation Needed, and The Skeptocrat, available on iTunes, Stitcher, and wherever else podcasts live. If you have questions, comments, or cinematic suggestions, you can email godawfulmovies@gmail.com. Legal services for this podcast are provided by...
Wait, do I have to take credit for that?
Yes. Provided by...
Legal services for this podcast are provided by the law offices of P. Andrew Torrez. No representations are made as to any legal fitness of anything said in this movie review.
And our theme song was written and performed by Ryan Slotnick of Evil Drafts on Mars. All of the music was written and performed by our audio engineer, Morgan Clark, and was used with permission. Thanks again for giving us a chunk of your life this week. For Andrew Torrez and Eli Bosnick, I'm Heath Enright, promising to work hard to earn another chunk next week. Till then, we'll leave you with the Animal House close.
Breakfast Club close.
No,
We voted.
Animal House.
We voted. 2 votes.
Nope.
Literally.
On his first day in heaven, Daniel and the old people he burned to death got sat at the same communal table for brunch. It was awkward. Heaven's weird.
Mrs. Rosenstein, in room 11B at the Senior Center, burned in hell forever.
Richard Carey filed a defamation lawsuit against Rising Pictures, the producers of this film, and Pureflix. And if you'd like to file a defamation lawsuit against Pureflix, send that to Pureflix Entertainment LLC, care of David White, registered agent, 5604 Via Bonita, Thousand Oaks, California, 91320.
Restricted to a ramen noodles page.
I have clicked on latercheese.com.
The preceding podcast was a production of Puzzle and a Thunderstorm LLC, copyright 2019, all rights reserved.